The Note. The phone's got like the clearest camera, man.
Dude, it's the best phone I've ever had for sure.
I love it.
Run an interview style and I'll edit myself out.
Yeah, do it.
All right. What's going on? How you doing, man?
All right, about yourself?
I'm doing very well. Doing very well. If you don't mind, could you tell everybody your name, a little bit about your background?
My name is Andre Ward. My background is pretty much I did 6 years in the military, cyber transport systems, configured routers and switches, worked with Viasat, satellite terminals, ran cable, ran fiber. So my background is pretty much heavy in network infrastructure and network integration.
That's awesome, man. So when you got out of service, how were things for you?
Things were good. Slowed down, a little lost when I got out. I got out to initially go to school, then realized that I needed to get my feet back in the IT field. So I became a contractor, did Windows 10 pushes for a company out in Arlington, Virginia. Then I left that job shortly before it ended to come down here to get an opportunity to enhance my career by getting service.
Awesome, man. Can you, for people that don't know, a lot of people are career changers, right? You had some experience in this. A lot of people are career changers. So for people that don't know, can you explain what the opportunities like in the IT and cybersecurity field?
The opportunities are extremely vast. You can, if you want to do net administration, you can do that. If you just want to be a technician and work with PCs and desktops, you can do that. There's pen testing. It's broad, so it's like the industry is so big, there's industries within the industry. So it's vast amounts of opportunities. It's all about pushing yourself in this field. It's all about taking advantage of the opportunity. And if you don't, it's going to quickly go by. But it's a very rewarding field, and you get in, you get out, you get what you put in. So that's the type of industry that the IT industry is in.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, lots of jobs, huge growth, tons of potential. What suggestions do you have for people that are looking to make a career change and get into IT?
I would say, let's say, for example, you're coming from business into IT, and you're like, you know what, I'm interested, I'm going to get in it, but I have no experience. What I would do, what I did, you sit down, you make the time, and you look up free IT training sites to get a head start. Go on YouTube and you look at what field you're interested in. Let's say you're interested in pen testing. You know what you do? You Google free pen testing training. So there's all types of sites. There's YouTube, there's Cybrary, there's Udacity, there's Udemy. So my advice, if you're transitioning from a career that's unrelated to IT, Google what you want to do first. Look at free training, read up on it, and determine what type of training you need, whether it's self-study or whether you need to go to a class or go online. So those are the initial steps I would suggest somebody take if they're coming from a career that totally has nothing to do with IT. That's
awesome, man. Yeah, good advice, good advice. Now, so you did come through the Veteran Transition Mission, doing the Troops to Tech Careers program. What was the quality of training in your opinion? How did you like everything? Could you give us a little brief about how it went here, your process, your steps, things like that?
Everything was great. Every instructor was pretty much knowledgeable. The resources they provided to learn was almost overwhelming, but in a good way. Yeah, it's 5 days, but it's 5 days of good training. They give you all the labs. The instructors go to the limit and beyond to make sure you get what's being taught. They're willing to stay after work to help you out with certain issues. They're always available for emails. So the instructors I never had a problem with. They were more than helpful. Each and every one of them knowledgeable, not only in the class that they're being taught, that they're teaching, but knowledgeable in other aspects of IT too. So the training, the instructors, the resources, everything was top notch for me.
That's awesome, man. That's good. And you took full advantage, and you came down here, you got certified, you studied hard. Can you, for the people, you know, that are coming and going to be doing this program, can you tell them what kind of mindset that they need to have when doing this, and and the way that they need to focus their efforts?
Okay, so I came down here and I got put in, I think, 6 or 7 certs. So be realistic. Obviously, you're not going to come down here and get every cert, but what you come into these types of situations, you determine what type of person you are. Maybe you're a Cisco guy. Maybe you're a VMware person. So what I would suggest anybody who comes to these types of scenarios or boot camps, in order to find success, and after you find what type of person you are, study. Nowadays, people just go to class and they think what the teacher is teaching them is that it. No, you have to put in the additional work. I think the most success you're going to get out is what you put in anyway. The teachers just give you the tools in class.
Right.
So for what example, I would go back to my place and I would hammer whether it's 6, 7, extra 8 hours after class, and I would stay up to 2. I'm sleepy the next day, but I'm doing it again because I passed one of my certs here because of that. And it's all about just making time. Use all the resources. Don't ever study just one resource. The teachers give you the resource that they're required to give you in class because that's what they're told to give you to help you pass. But what you need to know is that more than one resource is always better than one. So if they give you 1, you study an extra 3. If they give you 2, you study an extra 4. That's how it's supposed to go. So my advice, general advice to anybody when you come to these boot camps, outside of class, do labs. Read the book more than once. Read it 2 or 3 times. Do the labs more than once. And I mean, I'm talking about at least 3 or 4 times. Highlight the weaknesses, and guess what? If that specific lab exercise you're weak in, you do it again until you get it. So basically, do everything until it's muscle memory. So
that's great, man. Could you talk about? I've posted about how we have an on-site staffing partner. We do career placement, resume services. Could you talk a little bit about that and how effective they were, how your resume came out, things like that?
Oh, so as my weeks were winding down here, I had my resume worked on up until towards the end, and it's been great. The way they got the resume set up is they highlight, it's pretty blunt, so they highlight all the hands-on that you had here, and they highlight the classes that you have taken here, and the certs that are pending, and the certs that you already have or you've just not certified in. And they highlight your professional experience last. Now, the way it's set up, it's simple, but it's effective because you want to have those skills highlighted because you want to show to employers, okay, this person has hands-on. So while it's fresh, let's ask him questions to see where his mind's at. Is he good in it? Is he not? Is he or she not? And if they show potential, let's determine whether we should train them or not. And of course, they got the certs classes highlighted under that to show that, okay, he or she was willing to take the time to take these classes in the certs. So we can squeeze in and see if we can bring him on board, and we can groom him to where we want him so he can actually get that cert. So it proves very effective to job recruiters because it shows that you actually took the time to take those classes, to build those skills, and along with the skills and certs that you took and having the professional experience under that, it shows that you were willing to enhance what you already know. So the resume structure, I actually had LinkedIn page help. That was effective. The message and the headline of my LinkedIn profile was redone. Had to add the classes that I took. I had to add that on there. That became effective because it shows to other people, again, on LinkedIn that this guy is taking the initiative to get himself out there. So between help with LinkedIn, resume building, and just tips on what to do when I get to my area of wanting to work, how I should network. The resources are great. You're allowed to use the professors as references, especially if you work hard in their classes. So everything's been good. Every tool here, I try my best to take full advantage of, and just did nothing but positive things.
That's awesome, man. Last question for you. For people sitting on the fence, right?
Okay.
Guys that are sitting on the fence, they're sitting in a bad situation. As we know, veteran transition's been tough, finding careers outside. Guys that are sitting on the fence thinking, hey, IT might be, something they want to do. What would you have to say to them to help them make that move?
So if you're in a tough position and you want to get into IT, I would say do not give up, and don't feel as though, because IT can be intimidating because it's such a big industry and it's overwhelming. But you got to look at it. You got to look at it as if it's overwhelming in a good way. If you're in a tough position and you want to get into IT, I would say use the free resources. You may be in a position where you can't actually pay to get those resources and to get the paid resources, which one would deem the best since it's paid. So start off with the free resources. Buy a simple book. Take free online courses. Just look at mirror videos. And then once you get comfortable, practice. They have more free resources than they have paid these days. So I would say focus your efforts on buying a book and using the free resources. And generally, you can't go wrong. You can't. There's another thing I want to point out too. Outside the free resources and the books, let's say you're driving, they have free podcasts on these same certain topics. So let's say you're driving from your 9 to 5, or you're driving from doing errands, and you want to continuously have your mind built on A+. They have podcasts and they have videos you can download on that subject. You don't have to pay for anything. So I know a lot of people these days have this mindset that you have to pay for the best, and you don't. Really, I mean, that's optional, but they got free resources. So my advice to you was to network and use everything freely available to you, because always remember there's more free than paid. So that'll be my advice to.
Yeah, that's some good advice. Last thing, would you recommend the Veteran Transition Mission and getting certified here?
Absolutely. It's definitely a good way to fast track you on success. You really can't go wrong because you have everything around you. You got all the tools. They're there instantly when you need them. And I would recommend the program to anybody who's ready to work hard, study just as hard, if not harder than they ever studied before, but know that in the end it's all worth it. So definitely.
Well, hey, Andre, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
No problem.